Ferguson, Police Chief Thomas Jackson, have agreed to a mutual separation which involves the police chief's resignation from the city of Ferguson. The chief's resignation is effective March 19, 2015. This was a mutual decision, both by the chief of police and the city's administration. Chief Jackson will receive a severance payment with health insurance for 1 year. Lieutenant Colonel Al Eichhoff will assume the duties as acting chief of police effective Thursday, March 19, 2015. In addition to our search for a new city manager, we will also begin conducting a nationwide search for a new police chief. As you are aware, 1 week ago today, the city of Ferguson received its final report from the Department of Justice. The city has been committed to and will continue to be committed to addressing each item outlined in the report. It is the City Council's goal to continue to be transparent as we strive to once again become a vibrant and diverse community. On a final note, I would like to say this to Ferguson residents, business owners, and to the entire country. The City of Ferguson looks to become an example of how a community can move forward in the face of adversity. We are committed to keeping our police department and having one that exhibits the highest degree of professionalism and fairness. Now, looking at the questions.
How much is that severance payment?
I believe his annual salary is $96,000, somewhere in that range.
So
It's roughly $100,000.
the employees pay.
Correct.
What can you tell us about the acting police chief? Was he had much interaction with the residents of Ferguson?
Lieutenant Colonel Eichhoff is rather new to the city of Ferguson. He did start in August, right before the events in August. Lieutenant Colonel Eichhoff formerly was at St. Louis County. I know that he has, obviously over the last 6 months, spent a great deal of time working with the people of Ferguson and also our police department. Our officers seem to have a very high degree of respect for the professionalism and the abilities of Lieutenant Colonel Eichhoff, and we are blessed at this point to have Lieutenant Colonel Eichhoff to be able to take the reins while we search for a new police chief.
Mayor, how long were you discussing with Chief Jackson the terms of his departure, and does a year severance for a 5-year employee seem like a lot to you?
Some of those conversations really are, employee discussions, personnel discussions. I think that it's fair to say that in many executive level private industries you would get similar treatment.
Mayor, the police chief was committed to staying in his job all along and until the Justice Department reports him out last week. Can you tell us a little bit about when the discussions with him began and what they were like?
Lessen the frustration during the unrest, how we could try to bring this community forward, bring this community together so we can move forward. The chief is the kind of honorable man who you don't have to go to. He comes to you when he knows that that this is something that we have to seriously discuss. And so, after a lot of soul searching, and it is very hard for him to leave, and for us to have him leave, he felt that this was the best way forward. Doing this obviously not only for the city, but also for the men and women who serve under him in the police department, because he is, and he has been committed to making sure the city of Ferguson keeps the Ferguson Police Department. The city of Ferguson has been committed to that as well. And so that was obviously also a lot of kind of, I think, this thought process and when he decided to make an exit.
Mayor Knowles, you talked about, wanting to keep the police department. Have you all assessed at this point, given what the Justice Department wants from you all, will the city be able to, fulfill those commitments and keep its departments? I mean, obviously there's a certain type of financial burdens that go with that.
Those are recommendations from the Justice Department.
Yeah, the recommendations.
Sure. So the city of Ferguson, again, is looking at all those recommendations. We are engaging, we have already mentioned we're engaging consultants to tell us what the price tag might be, and what are those, try to tell us what is realistic realistically what we need to be working on. And so, as we move forward, we'll obviously continue to keep all that in mind as we make decisions going forward.
But you're confident that you all will be able to keep a Ferguson Police Department?
We've already engaged several experts on these issues. Rough estimates and things, going forward, I would say that we believe that it's something that we can do. So we're committed to making that happen, and we'll always make the decision that's best for the city, both financially and for the future of the city. And so, but right now, what we're seeing going forward, absolutely, to keep the police department.
Mayor, you talked about the chief as being an honorable man, and many of those who protested outside of the police department, who talked to him personally, liked him on a personal level. But can
Absolutely.
you talk about and evaluate the job he did as the police chief after you read that DOJ report, that scathing report about how he ran the police department?
Again, as I've said, we continue to go through that report and talk about where the breakdown was. Again, the chief being an honorable man decided that we need to talk about the way moving forward was with someone else, and so he left. But that is not to say that that's an indication of anything at this point. Again, we want to go, we have been going through that report and identifying the breakdown. And that breakdown can be at all different levels. And as we continue to do that, the important part is about how we can address that. What are the safeguards we can put into place? What changes do we need to do to put into place? And those are the things that we're focused on.
Is it fair to say the decision was made, the final decision, this is gonna have to happen, was made after the DOJ report, or did you already kind of know this was going to have to happen before the report even came out?
I think it's safe to say that all along we've said what is the best for the city. If you're asking, was the chief planning on resigning before that report, you'd have to ask the chief. Obviously, the decision was made after. But again, this has been in conversation with many community leaders, others in the profession. Excuse me. And so I think it's important that we recognize that chief made this decision because he wanted to do this, and part of he thought it was the best for the city and for the police department. And I think the chief will probably be willing to talk about it more in the coming weeks, about really what his thought process was, over the past couple of weeks.
Mayor, in the last
When
meeting.
did you learn about him stepping down? When were you made aware of his decision?
It was over the weekend that he and I had the conversation in which that conclusion was come to.
Because you said last night that his job was not being questioned.
I didn't say it was his job.
You
I
said
did not.
his job was not in question at this point, so I'm just
I
curious
think
if everyone knew this last night already.
Well, there were still things that were still being negotiated out, so as far as giving you an indication as far as, was he gone or anything. And again, you asked the question at the wrong time, let's put it that way. You asked the question before the decision was totally made. As far as the chief and his thought process, that's something we talked about over the weekend. But that's different from the city coming to the agreement, because that was not done when I asked the question, when I answered the question.
Mayor, in the last week or so, your city's clerk has resigned, your city manager has resigned.
The
your-
court,
The court,
not the city's clerk.
that's what I meant.
But that's not what you said. Okay.
Not what I said.
All right.
A bunch of
I
people.
wish I got that. I wish people would let me put what I meant, not what I said.
Fair enough. So, a lot of major employees of the city have stepped down in the last week. What is that gonna mean for your city going forward, that you have this vacuum of major city?
Well, I think that's why I think that's why Chief is, one of the reasons why Chief's staying around is because we think it's important that we have an orderly transition. We cannot have everybody just up and leave. The city has to function, the police department has to function. We are very committed to making sure all of those function properly. So part of that is the chief having a resignation in the future, which will allow him to talk to his men, help plan for what that transition is. And that's gonna have to be done at several levels as we move forward. So that's a fair question, that's absolutely a fair question, but that's why we're not just removing the chief, I'm sorry, the chief's not leaving,
also getting a year's severance?
Pardon me?
Is John Shaw also getting a year's severance?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, what are you saying to the people out there who say that you should go too? There are a lot of people who are saying that you should be the next to resign. What do you say to those
Didn't I
folks?
tell you this last minute? No, I'm sorry, it was somebody else, I apologize. As Mr. Rosenbaum so succinctly pointed out, somebody is gonna have to be here to run the show. And, you know, I've been committed, the city council has been committed to making those reforms. I realize that there's some people that still want a head, or my head, or other heads, and, you know, I can understand, you know, that they're going to say that. But again, we're focused on how we can move this community forward.
How about the finance?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank
Finance
you.
Are
director
these
mentioned in
resignations
the
an
report.
admission that there was something wrong going on here, that some of what is being talked about in this report was valid?
There's, you know, again, we're going through that report, those resignations are a mutual decision both by the chief and the city manager. And I think that their comments and their resignation do say that they admit no wrongdoing, so.
Does
Thank you,
the
ladies and
chief have
gentlemen.
any direct
Thank you very
word
much.
from you about how to deal with his officers to improve relations with the community?